Families come in countless forms, but some are truly extraordinary. Across the globe, there are families whose stories go far beyond the ordinary, defying societal norms and expectations. These are families whose uniqueness lies in their extraordinary physical traits, rare conditions, or unconventional ways of life. This video takes you on a journey to explore 20 such families, from those with record-breaking size to those with extraordinary appearances. Each family's story offers a glimpse into how they've adapted, thrived, and inspired the world with their resilience. Let's dive into the lives of these remarkable families and discover what makes them stand out. 1. The Gray Family, living outside the law. Now we'll talk about the Gray family from Texas. Their story isn't unusual because of their physical differences, but because they didn't follow the rules. The Gray family lived alone on a remote farm for more than 15 years, unwilling to recognize the power of the U.S. government. They saw themselves as sovereign citizens and rejected modern social and legal frameworks, choosing to make their own way of life instead. Because the family had a lot of doubts about government processes, they chose to live off the grid. In order to stay alive, they didn't pay taxes, turned off all utilities, and depended on their own resources. This self-imposed separation led to an interesting and controversial way of life. But their refusal to follow social rules finally led to fights. In 1999, there was a terrible fight when a sheriff's agent tried to arrest a family member. The officer was killed in the process. People all over the country learned about the Grays because of this event, which led to a standoff that finished with their capture in 2000. The family's story caused a lot of people to talk about human rights, sovereignty, and the limits of self-government, even though the legal consequences were harsh. Even though it was sad, the Gray family's story shows how far some people will go to protect their views and freedom. It is a powerful reminder of how complicated the relationship is between personal freedoms and responsibilities to society. It makes us think about how far we would go to stand up for what we believe in. 2. The Piebald Family, a mix of different people. Now we'll talk about the Piebald family in the United States. They are proud of how they look and have worked hard to overcome stereotypes. Piebaldism is a rare genetic disorder that leaves spots of skin and hair without pigmentation, which stands out against their natural tones. These white spots are more than just a physical trait for this family. They are a sign of being unique and strong. It hasn't always been easy for the Piebald family. As kids, members of the family often got strange looks, questions, and even jokes from people who didn't understand what they were going through. But they refused to let what other people thought of them define them. Instead, they liked how they looked and used their unique appearance to make them feel strong. Today, the family is involved in efforts to bring attention to genetic conditions and encourage others to be proud of their differences. They've told their story in films and interviews to teach people and question what people think is beautiful. For them, being bald is an obvious reminder of how beautiful differences are. The Piebald family's support and willingness to be open have encouraged others to love what makes them special. You can see from their story that being different doesn't make us weaker. It makes us stronger, more alive, and clearly human. 3. The Trapp family is the tallest family in the world. Now we'll talk about the Trapp family from Minnesota, who are known as the biggest family in the world. They are the opposite of the first family, who loved their height. 3 of them are over 6'6" tall, so they are much bigger than most people and go through life in ways that most people can't even imagine. Their amazing height is due to their genes. It has given them some great chances, but it has also caused some problems. It can be hard to do simple things like getting through doors or finding clothes. Even with these problems, the Trapps have accepted what makes them special with grace and humor. In sports, their huge size has also opened doors, both literally and figuratively. All 3 of the kids have done very well in basketball and volleyball by using their natural skills. The way the family has used their differences to their advantage shows how physical traits can be used to help people grow and succeed. But being the biggest family doesn't always make things easy. People's natural interest often leads to rude questions, and it can be hard to find places that are tall enough for them. But like the Hyderabad Dwarf family, the Trapps face these problems together, showing that sticking together as a family is a powerful way to get through life's problems. The Trapp family's story shows us that how we accept our differences is what makes us unique, no matter how big or short we are. 4. The Silva Family. Hands and feet that were born extra. Meet the Silva family of Brazil. They have amazing looks and unique physical traits. People know this family because they have extra toes and fingers because of a rare genetic condition called polydactyly. One of the most well-known cases of this genetic disorder in the world is this family, where 14 of the 25 members were born with it. Many people might think that having extra digits is a bad thing, but the Silva family has chosen to be proud of how unique they are. They've even found that some hobbies, like sports, are useful. For example, having more fingers can help them grip better, which can give them an edge in sports like basketball and soccer. They have turned their situation into something that makes them proud instead of letting it hold them back. But having polydactyly does come with some problems. Always having trouble finding gloves or shoes that fit right, and the family has had to deal with people making fun of or criticizing them because they don't understand their condition. Still, their strength shines through. The Silvas show that accepting what makes us unique can make our lives more satisfying. They encourage others to see differences as strengths instead of weaknesses. 5. The Love Family. Experts in surviving in the wilderness. The Love family, who lived in the Siberian desert for more than 40 years, is a family whose strength comes from being tough and able to do things on their own. In the 1930s, they were forced to live alone because of political oppression, and they cut themselves off from the rest of the world. The Love family's ability to stay alive is truly amazing. They only used what was available to them. They grew food, killed animals, and made clothes out of animal skins. They didn't know about big world events like World War II for decades because they lived alone and weren't connected to the outside world. The winters were very cold, and there weren't many goods in the wilderness. Still, the Love family changed and got by using their skills and creativity. The world became interested in their amazing story of survival when a group of scientists found their home in the middle of nowhere. Even though things were hard for them, the Love family's bond was strong. They did well in a place that most people would find unpleasant, showing that people are strong in any situation. The story of their lives is a powerful reminder that family unity can get through anything, even the worst situations. 6. The Fugate Family. The beautiful people with blue skin. As we keep looking at amazing genetic facts, we come to the Fugate family in Kentucky. Their beautiful blue skin has amazed both scientists and stories. The Fugates have blue skin because of a rare genetic disorder called methemoglobinemia. They are known as the blue people of Kentucky. Because of this problem, their blood can't carry as much oxygen, which gives their skin a unique blue color. Genetic separation is to blame for what's happening with the Fugate family. In their remote Appalachian town, relatives married each other, which accidentally kept the gene that causes methemoglobinemia alive. Over time, this made each person of their family look different. Scientists finally found that a simple treatment called methylene blue could temporarily make their skin less blue. This helped us learn more about this rare condition. Their looks caused people to be curious and even make up stories about them. But it also caused social problems. The Fugates were made fun of and left out of their town, where they were often seen as outcasts. Even so, they kept going, building a strong family bond that helped them get through these hard times together. The Fugates are now a sign of how genetic diversity can show up in strange ways. Their story isn't just about science, it's also about how strong people can be. When we meet someone new, the Fugates tell us that understanding and compassion are very important. Their journey continues to move us and encourage us to find beauty in things that other people might see as flawed. 7. Tattoos that tell a story. Shemika and Trin. From blue skin to body art with deep meaning, we now meet Shemika, a brave mother who is changing the way parents do things by getting tattoos. People started to notice Shemika, a fashion artist who really loves body art, when she started getting her young son Trin tattoos. Even though the tattoos are only temporary, they are very important to Trin because they represent important events in her life. Tattoos are more than just decoration for Shemika. They're a way for her to tell stories. Each image is a memory, a celebration, or an important part of her son's life. People have said bad things about Shemika's choice to be a parent, but she still believes that kids should be encouraged to be themselves from a young age. She has beautiful tattoos all over her body that show off her artistic side and personal story. Shamika's job as a fashion designer even includes tattoo-inspired patterns in her clothes, combining her interests into a single way of life. She is a great example of how to be yourself because she makes brave decisions and doesn't feel bad about expressing herself. Trin's tattoos have become a way for him to connect with his mother and show who he is becoming. Shamika and Trin show us that love and individuality can show up in ways that go against what society expects. They also show us that every family has its own special way of enjoying life. 8. Vasilyeva is the mother of 67 children. Coming from the world's biggest family today, we go back in time to meet Valentina Vasilyeva, a Russian woman who had the most children ever. Valentina had an amazing 67 children. She lived in the 18th century and had 16 pairs of twins, 7 sets of triplets, and 4 sets of quadruplets. Her story is both amazing and hard to believe. Valentina probably had a lot of children because of her genes. But what really makes her story unique is that so many of her children lived through a time when baby mortality rates were very high. Her husband, a strong and healthy blacksmith, helped the family on their amazing journey, even though it must have been very hard to raise such a big family. Valentina took care of her kids in the traditional way because she didn't have access to modern services. The family worked together, with older brothers helping to raise the younger ones. This made the home very connected. It became a neighborhood legend about how strong mothers are and how to keep going even when things get hard. Even though the Vasilyevas lived a very long time ago, their story is still told today as an example of how strong people can be and how important family is. Valentina left behind a legacy that shows how much love and care are capable of, no matter how hard things may seem. 9. The Rapunzel Family. Hair that flies against the gravity. After hearing about the exciting life of these families, we will now talk about a family whose hair is their greatest glory. This American family is known as the Rapunzel Family because their hair is long enough to reach the floor. This has been a practice for generations. Tin, the mother, lives by the example she sets. Her hair is over 6 feet long, which is a length most people can only dream of. They love taking care of their hair, so the Rapunzel family does it all the time. To keep their hair healthy and strong, they use natural shampoos and oils and don't use heat on their hair. It's more than just a physical trait. Their hair is a sign of family history and self-discipline. Each member is proud of their long hair because they see it as a sign of their natural beauty and family identity. But it can be hard to grow and take care of hair that is that long. Daily tasks like washing and dressing can take a lot of time. People also notice their hair when they're out in public, which often leads to both praise and nosy questions. Still, they are comfortable with being asked questions and use it as a chance to tell their own unique story. Long hair is more than just a custom for the Rapunzel family. It's a way to show who they are and how much they care. When we take care of things with love and care, they often grow into the most beautiful parts of our lives. 10. The Bannon Family. How they made it without guns. We've gone from families that accept physical differences to a family that has changed what it means to be resilient when facing physical problems. Katie Bannon and her boy Jackson don't have arms because of a rare genetic condition called Holt-Oram syndrome. This problem changes the way their upper limbs grow and, in some cases, their hearts. This makes daily life very hard for them. Katie and Jackson have shown amazing creativity despite their physical limits. Both have learned to do things with their feet that most people do with their hands. They are very flexible in how they live their lives, from cooking and writing to driving and even using their phones. Everyone who meets them is impressed by how determined and resourceful they are. The Bannon family has some hard times in their lives. People often need to come up with creative solutions or extra time to do things that other people take for granted. They've also had times when society didn't understand them and thought their skills were much less limited than they really are. Still, the Bannons handle these problems with ease, showing others what's possible when you don't give up and keep going. Because Katie and Jackson have a disease, it's not something that stops them. It's part of who they are. Their story shows how the human spirit can change and how physical differences don't limit what people can do. Instead, they can be used to spark new ideas. 11. Jon O Lancaster, fighting for T. Collins syndrome. Next, we meet a man who has made his one-of-a-kind experience into a worldwide campaign to raise awareness. Jon O Lancaster was born with Treacher-Collins syndrome, and his real parents left him at birth because of how he looked. Treacher-Collins changes the way bones and tissues in the face grow, which can lead to unique facial traits and even hearing loss. Even though it was hard for Jon O to grow up with an obvious difference, his life is a story of change. He learned to accept who he is and use his experiences to help others by growing up with a loving adopted family. He is now a motivational speaker and a mentor to kids all over the world who also have Treacher-Collins syndrome. Jon O's work as an advocate is very close to his heart. He talks about his journey and encourages people to find beauty in differences when he meets families, schools, and groups. His contagious happiness and charm have made him an inspiration, not just for people with Treacher-Collins, but for everyone who is going through tough times. Jon O's message is clear. Differences in appearance do not rule out worth or promise. His journey has not been easy. His life is a powerful lesson that understanding and acceptance can make the world a better place for everyone. 12. The Hyderabad Dwarf Family. Being strong in spirit. Now we'll talk about the Hyderabad Dwarf family in India, who rethink what it means to be strong and united. 9 of the family's 11 members are dwarfs because of a genetic disease called achondroplasia. This condition can cause a number of physical problems, such as shorter limbs and problems with bone growth. The Hyderabad Dwarf family has to change their ways of life all the time. Everyday tasks like reaching for things or getting around in public places often require unique solutions. Even with these problems, they have happy lives. The parents have steady jobs and the kids go to school and do things outside of school like any other kids their age. People haven't always been kind to them, though, because of their situation. People who don't understand how special the family is have made fun of them and judged them. They didn't let these things hold them back, though. Instead, they faced them with strength and unity, showing that their size doesn't limit what they can do. The family is proud of how close they are and how their differences make them stronger, not weaker. They take an active role in public discussions about dwarfism, fighting myths, and pushing for acceptance. Their story is a powerful lesson that differences in appearance don't make people less strong. Instead, they make them stronger. 13. The Albino Family. Having strength in being different. Meet the world's biggest known albino family. They come from a family known for their hair to a family known for not having any skin color. This amazing family of 15 lives in the UK. They all have albinism, a genetic disease that stops or drastically lowers melanin production. This makes their skin, hair, and eyes very pale. People who are albinos often face big problems. Because of how they look, some family members have been bullied and treated badly. They also have to keep their sensitive skin out of the sun and deal with the eye problems that come with having the condition. Even with all of these problems, this family has become stronger. Through public speaking and advocacy, they have become strong speakers for making people aware of and accepting albinism. Their goal is to teach others about their situation and fight against the negative ideas that people often have about it. The Albino family is a great example of how to be strong and united, and how variety is a strength, not a weakness. 14. Powerlifting Stars. The Best Family. Now we'll talk about the Best Family, which has been called the world's strongest family. Their parents, Nick and Callie, are both very good at powerlifting, and they make being strong a way of life. Dylan and Jessica, their children, have done what they did and broken records at incredibly young ages. The Best Family's daily routine shows how hard they work. Each member trains very hard, lifting weights and building stamina for hours on end. Powerlifting is more than just a sport for them. It's a practice that has taught them to be strong, work together, and set and reach their goals. The things they've done are truly impressive. A very few people can beat Dylan's record of lifting more than twice his own weight. He is only 12 years old. In the meantime, Jessica has broken records for her age group, showing that strength has no limits. The family competes together and encourages others to go beyond what they think is possible. But their way of life comes with some problems. Training takes time, work, and full attention. Some people also have doubts about the family, wondering if the kids should be doing such hard physical activities. The Best Family stays together, showing the world that strength isn't just about having big muscles, but also about being determined and having support. 15. The Bannon Family. Faces that change over time. As we continue our trip through the strongest mysteries, we reach Indonesia, where the Manung family lives with a rare disease that changes their looks over time. Ectodermal dysplasia is a genetic disorder that affects the growth of skin, hair, nails, teeth, and facial bones. This is what gives the family's faces their unique look. For the Manung family, the changes in their faces happen slowly over time, but as they get older, they often go through big changes. Because of this, scientists are interested in them and are looking into how the condition affects muscle and bone growth. Even though they look different, the Manung family has had to deal with misunderstandings and even abuse because of how they have changed. Instead of hiding, they have decided to live openly and be proud of who they are. Their story shows how beautiful it is to accept yourself and how important it is to change ideas about what is beautiful. Through their story, the Manung family shows us that our differences are what makes us unique, and we should be proud of them. 16. Chanas family is the biggest family in the world. We go from a rough and genetic disorder to a family that is one of the strangest in the world because of how big it is. Chana is the head of this huge family in Mizoram, India. He has 39 wives, 94 children, and 33 grandchildren, and they all live together in one house. Their mansion has 100 rooms, so it's more like a busy village than a normal home. Taking care of such a big family takes as much organization as the most well-run businesses. Everyone has a job to do, whether it's in the kitchen, the fields, or around the house. Huge amounts of food are made to feed everyone at meals, which are big events. Even though it can be hard at times, the Chana family works well together and respects each other. Because Ziona is the leader of a sect that supports polygamy and living together as a community, his family structure is strongly rooted in his religion. Even though this way of life isn't typical, the family has been able to get along because they share morals and work together. They've also become famous around the world, with tourists and the media often interested in their unique way of life. Traditional ideas of family are challenged by the Chana family story, which shows that love and relationship aren't limited by numbers. Their ability to keep the peace and togetherness in such a big house shows how important it is to have a common goal and strong leadership. 17. A life in red and white with the Raj family. Moving on from the biggest family that shows individuality, we now talk about a family in India whose commitment to a unique way of life has made them famous in their home country. In every part of their lives for more than 35 years, the Raj family has been very consistent, always wearing red and white. The family patriarch had a deep dream in which the Hindu god Lord Rama showed up dressed in these two colors. This incredible determination came from that dream. The dream made such an impact on the dad that he chose to base his whole family's life on these colors. Everything they do, from the clothes and accessories they wear to the way they decorate their homes and even the colors of their cars, shows how much they care about this holy vision. This is more than just a way of life for the Raj family, it's a spiritual obligation. But having such a unique life doesn't come without problems. It takes unwavering discipline to find the right clothes and accessories, deal with the occasional teasing, and follow these tight rules every day. The family does well despite this because they all believe in and value their father's vision. Their story shows how strong it is to work together toward a common goal. The Raj family shows that even simple things like two colors can have deep value and remind us of our faith and our family ties. 18. The Ugandan monkey family. Getting over stigma. After stories from India, we now have a story about being strong in the face of evil. In a small village in Uganda, a family has had to deal with years of criticism and misinformation because their children were born with microcephaly, a disease that causes heads to be smaller than normal and delays in development. Some people in the area have cruelly called this family the monkey family. Their story is one of love, persistence, and fighting for what they believe in. In order to protect and care for her children, the mother has become a strong supporter of love and understanding. Even though it can be hard to raise kids with special needs in a community that doesn't always understand them, she has shown a lot of strength. She works very hard to make sure her kids are loved, cared for, and get as much schooling as they can. The family has to deal with problems every day, like not being able to get medical care easily and being shunned by their community. That being said, they stay together because they believe in each other and their children's abilities. The mother's advocacy work has started to change how people in the area think about her children, pushing them to see past their physical differences and see the people inside them. The story of the Ugandan family is a strong reminder that knowledge and kindness are the first steps toward acceptance, and love can break down even the strongest barriers. 19. The Hairiest Family. How to live with hypertrichosis. Meet the world's hairiest family, which includes a baby that walks on all fours, and a family that changes what it means to look good. This amazing family from Mexico has a rare genetic condition called hypertrichosis, which is also known as werewolf syndrome. People with this condition have excessive hair growth all over their bodies, including on their faces, giving them a very different appearance. Because this family has passed down the hypertrichosis gene for generations, they are interesting to study and get a lot of public attention. In some parts of the world, people are curious about and even afraid of them because of how they look, but the family is proud of how different they are. Indeed, some members have made an art form out of their unique looks, acting in circuses and TV shows, and being proud of how different they are. But having hypertrichosis doesn't always make things easy. People look down on the family and ask them questions about how they look. Still, they keep going, fighting for respect and showing the world that beauty isn't limited to what society thinks is beautiful. Their story is a powerful lesson of how accepting what makes us different can change how people see us. 20. The Ulas Family. Getting around on all fours. In a remote part of southern Turkey, the Ulas family moves in a way that goes against all human expectations. Members of this family, unlike the rest of us, have learned to walk on all fours by using their hands and feet. Two things amaze and puzzle us about the way they walk, which is called quadrupedal movement. Scientists have looked into the Ulas family in depth to try to figure out what is going on with this unusual event. Some people think their condition is connected to Unner-Tan syndrome, a brain disease that makes it hard to balance and coordinate your movements. Some people think that the way they move might be an evolutionary holdover from the way our ancestors moved millions of years ago. But their story isn't just about genes. Every day, the Ulas family has to deal with problems like getting around on rough ground and being judged by other people. People in their neighborhood have been interested in them and have even made fun of them at times. Still, they carry on with their lives with honor, showing that being able to change and bounce back are real human traits. We are left with a deep question after hearing their story. What does it mean to be normal? It's not strange for the Ulas family to walk on all fours. It's just how they live. That's the end of today's video. If you've made it this far, be sure to watch more videos on the channel.